Welcome back. Dr. Tammy joining us now to talk about bioidentical hormones for women and the myths around hormone therapy. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Great to see you.
I always love being here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're kind of myth busting today. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I have to just kind of start with, I get so passionate that I just I just want to scream.
Yeah.
So let me just start with, if my energy is like a little angry even,
Sure.
I want to be an advocate for women. So we'll just start there.
Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting because you guys always have the greatest lead-ins for me. And although it's sad, and you know, my heart goes out to Shannon Doherty. I was just joking, Beverly Hills 90210. Like the young people probably don't know that reference. That was my high school thing I watched.
Yeah, of
but
course.
having breast cancer, bam, right there, we hear estrogen, we hear breast cancer, and we just shut down. And that is so wrong. And we are just told that if you have hot flashes after the age of 50, if you can get through 1 year, which is the definition of menopause, you're fine. And there are so many symptoms. Perimenopausal young women, we're so marginalized. We're told just suck it up, have babies. We're told, I think it's getting better, but as young girls, we're told don't ask questions. You know, you just kind of, it's behind the, we don't talk about menstrual cycles. We just kind of just rough that off. And so there's mood changes, and weight gain is the number one thing that brings women into my practice, because after menopause, I call it hormone depletion syndrome. Our ovaries literally dry up. There's a test called an FSH that you can do, a blood test you can ask for your doctor, and you can see exactly where your hormone dry up. They literally become like raisins on ultrasound. What your status is, because we have to go the rest of our lives without hormones. And so when we hear breast cancer, yes, there are issues with estrogen, but here's another myth busting. There are 3 different kinds of estrogen, and having too much of the wrong kind of estrogen could cause breast cancer. So you need someone who understands those, and who gets the balance, because there's other hormones that have protective effects. And so when we talk about hormones, there's over 100 different kinds of hormones in the body. There's thyroid and insulin and so many different things. But actually, bioidentical hormones are the natural form that are usually through a compounding pharmacy and can actually prevent cancer. And so we're seeing all of this.
I've heard, you know, this second myth you see on your screen there, hormone therapy causes cancer.
Yes.
Not true, huh?
Not true at all. It is such a myth, and it takes almost 20 years for the research to catch up with clinical practice. And Big Pharma is just really controlling the doctors. You know, I was just talking to a friend yesterday about the process of going through residency. It is literally like a programming. The longest I ever stayed awake was almost 3 days. I was sleep deprived, and then they come in and they say, just throw these drugs at people, and they send you home. You might go into the hospital on just a few meds, and you leave on 20 meds, you know, if it's a serious condition. And so it's just, man, that's the time when we don't want to catch people. We want to catch women and tell young girls that there's a different narrative. They need to take care of themselves. You know, in the last show we talked about building muscle, increasing protein, and really getting healthy, because maintenance, you can go 3 weeks without working out if you have good muscle structure, if you are fit. And it doesn't really, you know, catch up with you that much. So start. If I could go back and tell my younger self in my 40s, you know, really kill it with building protein and just a small amount of muscle building and strength training, goes a long way.
This hormone therapy is not just for women who are going through menopause, correct?
Absolutely. Because what happens is our hormones, you know, as we're babies, you know, we don't have much estrogen. And then as we go through the menstrual cycle years, we're fluctuating wildly with babies. All our hormones are shifting. And then we go through this, what we call perimenopause, which is 10 to 15 years before menopause. And so if we can address those issues, and so many women struggle with PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, and they just get thrown on birth control pills, which is synthetic hormones, which is probably the worst thing and the worst setup. And if you think about who gets, let's just go with breast cancer, right? That's the elephant in the room. Is it young girls who have the highest estrogen levels, or is it the menopause female who has like none? I mean, I check blood work, and on the assays, it's like less than the detectable assay for all the estrogens.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's like, who gets the breast cancer? It's the women with the lowest estrogens. So ding, 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 there's, you know, like the like wake up moment.
And speaking of ding, 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 that's why our viewers should reach out to you there at Healing Arts Centers and all the work that you do, Tammy. So thank you, and thank you for sponsoring these segments. We're always enlightened when you come in and talk to us about this.
And sorry about my little over passion there, but
no, it's good.
Please do your research.
It's good. And if you want more, see more of Tammy on our show, you can find, like, and follow us. We're out there on social media posting interviews like this one. We've got our hot topics and more. Just search Good Day NWA.